Hello and welcome to today's workout. Just gotta get it loaded up here. Let's see. Should be. No, that's the pre-race warm-up. This one, yeah. Perfect. Just some 2-minute efforts and then some 40-20s. Pretty hard, but pretty short. Shouldn't be a crazy workout, but if I feel like awful, I'll just ride the zone 1 and zone 2 intervals, but I should be okay, I think. Alright. We're going up the big climb portal. We're doing the La Taupe challenge. I think we have the Galibier today. So that should take most of the ride actually, I think. It said an hour and 15 minutes, it estimated. So yeah, this is an hour and 25, plus the little lead-in. Should take me most of the way, actually all the way up the climb, yeah. I think Erg mode's on. I think it just needs a second to readjust. There we go. Alright. The tap to the France. Vision's still a little bit blurry, but thankfully that doesn't matter too much for indoor riding. Meters of climbing, 6.9%. Yeah, this will take almost the entire ride. Oh, I forgot to turn the fan on. Alright, that one's on. Alright, we're back. Come on, remote. Come on. There we go.
Hey Samuel, how's it going? How's your Saturday? I would say on average, I ride 10 to 12 hours a week. A big week for me will be 15 to 16 hours. So compared to most elite level cyclists, it's not that much. Oh man, sorry to hear that you're sick. Yeah, it's always better to, I always say it's better to be aggressive in the recovery rather than trying to train through illness. So I'd always take, if I get sick, a couple days off, even if you feel like 80%, still take a day or two off, and then ease back into the training, like 20-30 minutes zone 1, first ride back, and then just go day by day from there. Way too many people, they'll take 2 days off and then try to go right back to their training plan, try to go right back to high intensity intervals. It's not good. Even if you feel okay that week, it's probably not the best thing long term. Oh man. Yeah, that's tough. I would say it really depends on what level of fitness you were at during the lactate test. And I would only apply that data to when you're at that fitness level in that form. I wouldn't apply those same numbers to when you're sick. Got to ease back into it. heart rate at the same power. So I would say if that's the case, you probably weren't in the best of form. I mean, there could be other factors as well. It could have been much hotter, more humid in the testing facility than you have at home. Could have been nervous, could have been differences in caffeine or sleep or fatigue. But I would say look at the results of the test and try to match that with your own training data and just see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not valid data. But if it's within a few watts, 5 or 10 watts of where you thought you would be for those zones, it's probably pretty decent data, even if it's not perfect. All right, going up to 280 watts here for a few minutes. Not long until I get into the 2-minute high intensity efforts. That's a good question. Between the indoor and outdoor riding, I would say the heart rate is very, very similar. Like definitely within 5 beats per minute. Indoors, maybe a little bit lower. Maybe I'm just a little bit more nervous outside on the open roads with cars, corners, that kind of thing. Whereas the trainer is super calm and totally controlled. But yeah, when I get into the higher intensity stuff and racing efforts, it's probably really similar. If anything, yeah, I would say the indoor is going to be a tiny bit lower. Yeah, Samuel, I think if it's more than 5 or 10% off of what you were expecting, it's probably not great data. Unfortunately, I know it's a lot of effort to do a test like that, but yeah, if it's 10% off, I mean, you're talking 20, 30 watts at least. So it's really hard to use that data. Personally, I use and recommend the inside test. I've done that many times before. Many years ago, I've done it recently. I've had my athletes do the inside testing, and it's really, really good. The data that you get from that is really good, and I use it to plan and structure my training to get those training zones and all that. And you don't have to go to a lab either. That's the best part, is that you can do it at home, indoors or outdoors. So I definitely recommend something like that. Maybe for you for a retest, rather than going and doing a lactate lab test again. Yeah, I mean, if you're 30 or 40 watts lower than you thought, that doesn't really make sense. That's not within the acceptable margin of error, I would say. yeah, I would say in a fatigued or a slightly ill state, the LT1 might not change that much, but you'll see the differences are even more pronounced at the higher intensities. It's like when you're sick, you can still do a zone 1, zone 2 ride, but if you go out and try to race or do with VO2 max intervals, it's going to be way different from normal. The 2-minute VO2 max. I'm expecting it to be pretty hard, mainly because I haven't done any intensity since Unbound 7 days ago. But we'll try and see how it goes. That's interesting. I think, yeah, using the 20-minute number from a race can definitely work for most riders, but you definitely have to be careful with it. You definitely don't want to do 20-minute normalized power as your FTP base number. And I think that a lot of people overestimate their FTP based on that 20-minute. Most people will take 95% of that number. I prefer taking 93. So you take your 20-minute peak average power, multiply that by 0.93. I would say that's a much better estimate of FTP for most people. And then you would base your zones off of that. So those endurance rides, if they're too hard, I would maybe recalculate it and see if you get a slightly different number. Because if it feels too hard, it's definitely too hard. An endurance ride should not feel kinda hard, like the whole time. If you're doing it for 2 or 3 hours straight, it'll get harder, but it shouldn't initially feel like you're really, really pushing. Here we go into the first 2-minute effort. I'll try to do the first 20 to 30 seconds seated, and the rest out of the saddle, and I'll see how that feels. Oh, good to do it seated. I'll try the next one out of the saddle. heart rate is definitely slow to come down, which is exactly what I expect. The fitter I am, and this applies to almost every cyclist, the fitter I am, the quicker my heart rate comes down after a hard effort. So since I had 4 days off after Unbound, I'm quite fresh. So I didn't lose a ton of fitness, because first I needed to recover from the race, but at the same time, I'm way more rested and undertrained compared to when I'm in my best form, which is fine. That's part of the long-term plan, but it's definitely noticeable. So in races, I need to be careful about that. I won't be able to recover as quickly as I sometimes can. But with an opener session like this, it's pretty comfortable with the long recoveries. The 40-20s will be interesting to see how my heart rate reacts to that. There we go. I'm gonna skip this third effort. Feel like I don't need it. Legs are opened up for sure. Heart rate in the low 170s. It's quite hard for me. Look, I have a huge forehead. Do I have a huge forehead? I don't think so. I think it's pretty average. Trying to get some stronger airflow in my hands. That's better. Here we go with the 40-20s. Too hard. Felt pretty good. It's a good sign. But I didn't feel amazing either. I never want to feel amazing during my openers. It means I time my form a little bit, like off by a day.